Shemai, I'm going to talk about this. It's a cheap Amazon bass ukulele today, and has it been worth the wait? Let me explain. I originally bought, well, not this bass, but a bass like this, back in February 2022. We are now at the end of November 2022, so that's about 9-10 months ago. So it's a seller I've bought from before, Muzu, known on Amazon. They're also known as Eastern Sound on eBay, and this is another Batking bass ukulele. Many of you will have seen Pinky, my other bass ukulele, pinky purpley colour. That's made by Muzu, and I've had that a few years now and absolutely love it. So when I saw this model, which is a neck through bass ukulele, back in February, for £147, I thought, ooh, I'm having that. So I bought it. So just before I show you that bass ukulele, I bought it, it arrived, and there were a few issues with it. Okay, first of all, you'll notice, I'm going to show you the old footage in a moment, it's a fretted model, and that was basically the reason I wanted to buy it. I wanted another fretted bass so I could do comparisons with strings and everything. Rather than me whittering on now, have a little look at this. It's got the Batking name on it. All right, it's a neck through. What that means is it's one or several pieces of wood, but all the way down there. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I am definitely gonna have to do something with this neck. So the other three strings, the E string, the D string, and the G string, are playing fine, but the A string, I think it's just too low. Yeah. So yeah, it seems like an age ago now. Quite a bit has changed since then. My face, for a start, I can see how much weight I've lost now. Anyway, so the bass arrived, and as you could see and hear from that, there was an issue whenever I played the A and the E strings. When I pressed the frets down, it was making a horrible noise, and I just thought, oh, it's all right, I'll be able to fix that. I can adjust the bridge and the saddle. And it was only at that point I actually realised it's a different saddle to on most solid body bass ukuleles. All right, it's the actual saddle is adjustable on both my Kala and my Muzu. All right, Pinky. But of course this one, which was on the fretted model as well, there just wasn't the range to adjust it. So I contacted them straight away, and I've had dealings with the company now for quite a few years. Obviously, I've had Pinky from there. They actually sent me a bass ukulele and a tenor ukulele a while back to review for them as well. This one I have bought, all right? They didn't know I was buying it or anything. So contacted them, showed them parts of the video and tried to explain the issue. I thought I could fix it, so I took out the saddle, lifted it up, put bits in it. That didn't work. Didn't matter how much I lifted that saddle, I couldn't stop this fret buzz issue. So they said, not a problem at all, we'll send you another one. So a few weeks later, I had exactly the same model sent out with exactly the same issue. The A and the E strings, didn't matter what I did, I could not stop those strings buzzing. Okay, so a very, very long and boring story later, basically, I sent those 2 bass ukes back to China. They paid for the shipping and everything like that. And they said they were going to contact the factory and see what could be done. Now, as part of our communication back and forth, I suggested that, in fact, it's an issue with the saddle and the bridge with the pickup underneath, because we didn't have the height to be able to raise it. They looked into it. They couldn't confirm or deny. They thought that was the issue. But in my mind, I'd bear in mind as well, I'd tried adjusting the truss rod. Anything that I could think of, I tried. I even took it to a local luthier who had a little look, and he was stumped as well. Okay, so we'd got to this point. This was maybe May, June time, when I was starting to say, well, look now, you know, I need to know, am I going to get a refund? Am I going to have a fixed base come out? And of course, with everything still going on in the world at the minute with COVID and such like that, months were sort of passing by. Towards the middle of the summer, they contacted me to say, we've solved the issue. We will let you know as soon as we've got a new bass ukulele to send you. I thought, great, marvellous. Luckily, I'm not in a position where I needed to have this bass uke immediately, and I'd prefer to get a problem solved and help them fix it rather than just being, you know, like, no, that's it, end of story. So the next thing is I'm having an email from them saying, we are shipping your bass today. We seem to have solved the problem. I got back to them saying, well, what was it? Was it a problem with the saddle? Has this design been changed? And they said, no, we've made them fretless. So yeah, getting rid of the fret is going to get rid of any buzzing. At this point, I'm going to ask you guys, if anybody has bought one of these, the fretted version, and they've had issues with it buzzing and the strings just sounding horrific, please drop a comment below, because I really would like to know. I have spoken to somebody who had one and he didn't seem to think there was an issue with it, but to my mind, I just really thought it was a design fault. So the end of August comes and I get a tracking number for a fretless bass ukulele. And then it all sort of starts to slow down again. I was watching this instrument. It got stuck in China. Then it got returned to them. Then it got stuck in China. Bear in mind, we're having communication throughout all of this process. So at no point was I thinking, oh my God, that's it, I've lost money or anything. But it was starting to get frustrating, and almost to the point where I just kept forgetting about it. And then suddenly, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, they said, right, we've used a different courier service. It should be with you in a matter of days. Last week, I then got the email saying it was out for delivery. And last week, I had COVID again. For anybody who watches me regularly, you know, at the moment, we're right in the middle of our school production. That is on this coming week. Whether or not you'll see this video before then, I don't know. So to suddenly get struck by COVID, I wasn't horrifically ill, but there were 2 or 3 days where I really wasn't well, and this is when this arrived. So I unpacked it. There was no way I was going to do an unboxing or anything. Had a quick play. There were a couple of issues which I'll talk about in a second, but generally I thought, right, well, at least the problem of the buzzy strings had been solved. So this is where we're at. 9 months ago, I bought a fretted cheap bass ukulele. I now have a fretless cheap bass ukulele. As I just said, having COVID did not help. I was like, oh, there's all sorts of things wrong, which I'll go over in a moment now. But having picked it up again yesterday, I couldn't put it down. All right. Suddenly things weren't as bad as they seemed last week. I had a quick play and fixed a couple of tiny little things, and then spent a good hour and a half, 2 hours playing. And this is, hang on, the result at the minute. So. All right, it works. Now, let me just mention the niggly little things when I unpacked it last week. These two, we've got a volume control the tone, and we've got treble and we've got bass, and both of these seem to be a little bit loose. That was the first thing I noticed. And then the other thing that I noticed was there was a sort of farty sound coming through it a little bit. So before I did anything else, I took the back off, had a quick look inside at the electronics, noticed straight away these two controls were loose. That took me about 30 seconds. All I did was pull the actual covers off, tighten up the, I want to say nut, tighten that up, put it back on. That instantly felt better with these. And the sound, I'll show you in a moment. But basically now it really is. It's a nice sounding bass. There is absolutely no fret buzz. And now, certainly since I've done these, it seems to be more even with the actual plucking and the pickup. I may have a go. The whole point of buying one of these originally was for me to faff around with it. All right. But I may actually on this one have a go of taking the saddle with the pickup underneath apart. All right. There is a trick. Michael Cohen mentioned it a couple of years ago, because a lot of people find that these can be a bit uneven. All right. So that's something I may do. But at the minute, I am fairly happy overall with the sound. The one thing, if I turn, I've got the treble really quite low, because that's the way I prefer EQ. So let me just go for a minute. We're on low treble. If I turn it up, okay. All right, you can hear your fingers a bit more, so that's why I keep that down a bit, but that's on all bass ukes. And then the bass is about halfway. If I turn the tone on the bass all the way up, hear it? So I think it's a strong or a hot signal, and that could well be because the bottom two strings sound a little bit louder than the top two strings. Let me make sure all I've done now is turn down the bass a little bit. So that's something for me to have a little bit of mess about. So just before I play it anymore, let's actually show you the bass in a bit more detail. As I said, I paid £147 for the original one on Amazon. This one at the minute, it was on Amazon. I can't see it on there at the minute, but as of earlier today, it was on eBay, and they're asking £219 for it. Okay. It is a neck through. Now, generally speaking, if you're talking bass guitars, neck through instruments are very nice because you get a better sound overall. But this is one of the reasons I bought it, especially being so cheap, was that I really fancied a neck through bass ukulele. So, of course, this one is fretless now. You can just see, hopefully, the Batking logo on the top of that. It's a lovely light wooden finish to it. Satin, I think I'd probably call it. Really nice grain on the wood. The overall finish is pretty good. I can't feel any rough edges or anything like that. I'm still not 100% convinced with the design of the pickup under the saddle and bridge on this one compared to other solid body ukuleles where they've got you can actually manually adjust it much easier. Okay, you can see the strings come through at the bottom there. Down here we've got a strap button with the actual jack input in it. At this end we've got another strap button, and again this is a little niggly thing. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just the design of the instrument. We've got a very, very sharp edge here with the strap button right on the very end. Let me just come in and show you a moment. So you could see there the strap button, and it's sort of teetering on the edge. That might be something I may consider rounding off in the future, just for aesthetics. I can't even speak. It's been a lot. I've been rehearsing already in school today for our show next week. So they're unbranded tuners. It did have an Ukulele Thundergut label on it. Again, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to buy one of these, was I intend to change a lot of things over. I've got better quality tuners if I need them, and I really would like to try some different strings as well. But as I said a moment ago, I do intend to take the pickup and the saddle out of here and do the chop job on it to see if I can get a better sound overall. It's fretless. Quite a few people have asked me, can I do a video on how to play fretless? Yes, of course I can. It has got side markings. They do seem to be fairly good in tune. It really is quite a small scale, so I'm really having to bunch my fingers up a little bit. I'm just going to turn the amp up a fraction. Generally though, it's not a bad sound off it. Yeah, lovely. So I think what I'm going to have to do before I sort of come to any real conclusions as to how decent this is, I need to have a really good play with it. As I said, it's absolutely manic for the next couple of weeks with school shows and music productions and stuff like that. But as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to sit down and have a really good play. I may have a little mess with the bridge. We'll see how that goes. And eventually I may well change the strings and things out as well. But I just wanted to share with you guys the whole palaver of me buying a bass ukulele over 9 months ago and finally actually getting to the conclusion of the story. We got there in the end. At no point was I ever really concerned. It's just a bit frustrating. So there we go. That is another cheap Amazon bass ukulele. I bought it on Amazon. It has been on Amazon, and this fretless model is on eBay at the minute, about £219 right now, but I paid £147 for the original fretted version. If you've got a fretted version of one of these, leave a comment below whether you like it or you don't like it. All right, it'd be really interesting to know, especially as is a possible design flaw with some of these. I'm sure this is going to feature in quite a few more videos. As always though, if you've got a comment or a question, please feel free, leave it below. Give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.